Good day, everyone. My name is Judy Alicando. So I am the first reporter. So my topic it's all about authentic assessment. So the first is the definition of authentic assessment, the importance of authentic assessment, and the characteristic of authentic assessment. So now I will share this experience or struggle while searching about or searching the sources of this kind of the topic authentic assessment. So there's a lot of sources about authentic assessment, but some of the sources are need permission to open. And now I only get five authors that share or that are their own definition of authentic assessment. So now I will discuss to you the first author define authentic assessment. So according to Wiggins 1992, that authentic assessment is a product or performance correlated real experience. So it stated that a product or a performance. So this two, or what to say, the product and the performance this is the type of authentic assessment. So when we say product, it should be a written output. It should be the portfolio, as a scrapbook, or any kind of written outputs. So when we say performance, from the word performance, it should be actual or the actual performance shown, like the debating, uh, oral recitation, and also the role playing and many more. So Wiggins defines that authentic assessment is a product or performance correlated real experience. Now, it's supported to the author by Huggs et al. 1993, 1989, 1994, and 1990. So, according to them, that authentic assessment permits students to demonstrate their knowledge. So, from the word their knowledge, so it should be actual performance, or in a brief explanation of authentic assessment, it is a performance or a real experience or the real, what we could say, actual performance shown in the specific or in the classroom settings. So this is the definition of Hugs or what Hugs 9 et al. 1993, 1989, 1940, and 1990. So aside from the two author, there is Mueller 1999 Miller 2011. It also that a form of assessment or authentic assessment, it should be a form assessment in which students are asked to perform real world tasks, demonstrate meaningful application of essential knowledge and skills. So it is so very understandable because it should be the perform real world tasks, demonstrate meaningful application of essential knowledge and skills of the students. So according to Miller 2011. So now there are three more authors. So the first, the fourth and fifth, they have this definition is the same. So according to Magda and Aslanian 2018, that authentic assessment is required students to apply what they have learned, and also it should be aligned with the course learning objective. So what is a course learning objective? So as an educator, we are tasking to make a lesson plan, right? So in making a lesson plan, we must do include our objectives, right? So there are three categories in making an objectives. It should be cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. So now let's focus in the psychomotor class. psychomotor parts rather. So in psychomotor, it should be performance, right? So it should be performance, or what should be the end, or what should be the end that the students able to do, right? So for example, in making objectives, so like that. So the students, at the end of the lesson, the students able to perform or make a role playing. It's all about cyberbullying. So like that. So that is the example of authentic assessment. It should be aligned to your course learning objectives. So according to Magda and Aslanian 2018. Now the last author is again is Wiggins 1990. In the first Wiggins 1992, and the last is Wiggins 1990. So according to him, that authentic assessment is the ability to make long lasting impact. So it should be, because long lasting impact, because it should be actual performance, not a written performance. So but also according again by Huggs and et al, like it should VA rather, according to Wiggins, that it should be the authentic assessment should be the product or the performance. So um I mistake because yeah, because long lasting impact, because it should be a performance test, right? So now we'll already discuss the definition of authentic assessment, and the author share their own perspective about authentic assessment. Now, let's proceed to the impact of authentic assessment. So, what are the impact of authentic assessment in a classroom settings, or to the teacher? So now, I will share to you the six importance of authentic assessment from the different author. So the first is by searching this topic and the importance of authentic assessment. It's a very difficult and need to have a time to browse again browse, because some again that some of the sources are not clear and need a permission. So now I will share to you the six authors who state the importance of authentic assessment. So the first is UNCW Sydney 2002 stated that the importance of authentic assessment, it helps students contextualize their learning areas. So authentic assessment, right, help students contextualize their learning areas and to see how real life condition or situation in all their unpredictability, ambiguity, and complexity affect their theoretical knowledge. So that specific statement by UN as the SW Sydney, it talks about the students. It's talk about the students, because as an educator, we can able to see how real life condition or situation in the specific students and all their unpredictability, ambiguity, complexity affect their theoretical knowledge. So that is the importance of authentic assessment. So the four. Okay, so this for importance of authentic assessment, according to Educa, what to pronounce that one? Educa 2002. So the first is it allows children to demonstrate their accurate level of understanding and ability, because as an educator can then provide target instruction that meets the child need with the information. So that is according to them that it isn't that the importance of authentic. It should it able the educator provide target instruction that meets the child with their information. So the second is an authentic assessment provides a more will or it provides a more well-rounded pictures of the child because it can prove to be very helpful in identifying the child cognitive approach. It helps what we call to identify the cognitive approach, the level of expression, and the interaction with surrounding people and the objective. So that is the importance of authentic assessment according to Educa 2002. According to them, that it identifying the child what cognitive approach, level of expression, and interaction with surrounding people and the objectives. So the third, according to the EDOCA 2002, that authentic assessment are often more valuable than traditional assessment because they assess how will children can apply what they have learned to real world situation. It is imperative in early childhood when children begin to learn how to transfer their knowledge and skill in new situation. So that is so because in authentic assessment it is more on performance. It should be actual. It should be real situation. So and the lastly that according to Educa 2002 that finally authentic assessment tends to be more engaging for both students and teacher or educator. So they often right it is what you call engaging both students and teacher or it should be called educator. Why? Because they often involve avail active tasks that allow the child to explore and experiment. So it should explore the knowledge or the thinking skill of the students because they should able to show their their knowledge and skills in that specific um situation. It should be real and actual situation. So according to Educa, those are the importance of authentic assessment. So now I will share to you this the the fourth no the last importance of authentic assessment. So it stated there that it makes students successful learners with acquired knowledge according to Wiggins 1990. So it makes students successful learners with acquired knowledge. It provides students with a full range of skills. Example, it should be research, writing, revisioning, oral skills, debating, and other critical thinking skills. So that is the skills being developed in authentic assessment. So those are that I've mentioned. So it should because authentic assessment in brief, authentic assessment values not only the finished product, which are the learning outcomes, but also the process of learning. So those are the importance of authentic assessment that I've mentioned. So those are uh, the sixth author that I've mentioned is the UNSW Sydney 2002 and the Educa 2002 and the Wiggins 1990. 19. So now let's proceed to the characteristic of authentic assessment. So there are six characteristic that that I've include in the PPT. So this six characteristic of authentic assessment, it is according to Fuentes 2015. So to Fuentes 2015, it is the upload. She or he uploaded this presentation, but I didn't know who is the exact author of this sources, because again some of the sources are need a permission to open, right? So the first characteristic of authentic assessment is an authentic assessment note to the students a clear definite criteria of performance made. So the performance made, it should have a clear, definite criteria and performance made known to the student. So it should have a clear criteria in making a performance. It should be the needed of the students to hit what should the importance to hit that kind of criteria or the rubrics. So as an educator, we must to have a clear, definite criteria in making a rubrics or making criteria in the specific performance. So those are the characteristics of authentic assessment. So the next is criterion reference rather than norm reference. So it should be criterion reference rather than norm reference. To remember that one. And it identifies strength and weaknesses but does not compare students nor rank their level of performance. So again, criterion reference rather than norm reference because it identifies, right? It identifies strength and weaknesses of the students, does not compare students nor rank their level of performance. So that is the third characteristic. Now let's proceed to the So now let's proceed to the third characteristic. So authentic assessment required students to make their own answer to question rather than from given option as in multiple choice items, and requires them to use a range of higher order thinking skills or what we call HOTS. So that is the third characteristic of authentic assessment. It should students to make their own answer in the specific activities. It should be aligned to the range of the higher order thinking skills. So the fourth characteristic is in appropriate situation, authentic assessment does not does not rely on ability to recall facts or memories they tell. Instead students are asked to demonstrate their skills concept they have learned, or what should are in brief, students demonstrate their knowledge, skills, and competencies. So the fourth characteristic of authentic assessment. So now let's proceed to the fifth characteristic of authentic assessment. So the fifth is that authentic assessment encourage both teacher and students to determine their rate of progress and cooperatively attaining the desired students' learning outcomes. So it should be that the students or the teacher and students determine the rate of progress and cooperatively attaining to desired students' learning outcomes. So according to Fuentes 2015. So the last is authentic assessment does not encourage rote learning and passive talking of tests. Instead, students are required to demonstrate analytical skills, ability to integrate what they learn, creativity and ability to work in group, skills and oral and written communication. It should be a performance task, not only in like passive talkings, talking of test. So it should be a performance or either individual or group performance. Okay, so those are the characteristic of authentic assessment. So so authentic assessment, it should in a brief explanation, in a short, for you to understand uh clearly, that authentic assessment, it should be the product or the performance that correlate a real experience or the real experience of the students or in the classroom settings. It should be that the students able to demonstrate their knowledge or the knowledge that they learn from the lesson. So these are the references that these are the references. So that's all, and thank you.